I won't date a woman who did not have her father there ever. The thing is, no funny, and it's gonna sound crazy, I know a lot of scumbags. I'm cool with them. I grew up with them.
We would not even be having this conversation if men were present. If they wanted to be present, they would be present. We would not be having this conversation.
So that's why it's important for us to identify and actually show what it looks like so that people can hopefully see the bullshit that they're doing or being a part of.
The man doesn't have a woman's body. We don't talk about postpartum. We don't talk about body changes at all ever in our entire existence.
This is the mentality of a man. This is sick of you.
Hey guys, well, welcome back to Erin at the Table, where Jada continues to talk.
Yep, that part. And another thing, Rico.
Nah, I'm just messing around. But listen, everybody, welcome back to Erin at the Table. It's dope having y'all here week in and week out. If you haven't been supporting, it's time you start. So we have Date Box. We have a bunch of different ways you can subscribe and show us some love. Now, we got some dope, I guess, analogies or studies that Alan brought up, right? I don't even know what it was called.
The guy's
With
name?
the monkeys? What is it called?
Moors?
You have Bowlby, Mary Ainsworth, and then you have Harlow.
Harlow.
studies.
Harlow's, yes, well, all three. But before we get into that, we got the dope panelists. I'm gonna start off with, to my left, we got Miss Jada Blackwell. Go ahead, introduce.
What you say? Okay. Hey, everybody. What's going on? It's your girl, Jada Blackwell, and I'm back. like a snack.
They look nasty.
Amanda's like a Nutri-Grain.
Don't play me.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm hummus and carrots.
You're what? Hummus and definitely. I would swap it out with a pretzel. Hummus and pretzel.
I'm definitely hummus and carrots over here.
Damn, if I was
What's up? It's your girl, Erin The Renegade. Thanks for tuning in. Love you guys.
And it's your girl Amanda, and we're back with another episode about monkeys.
What? Well, all right. So the main topic today is there a correlation between the relationship someone has with their family and how they will be in a relationship with a significant other? What do you guys think, or ladies think?
Well, I think that your family is what creates your conditioning. And your conditioning creates how you respond to certain stimuli, in your life. So if you had parents, you knew they loved you because of their actions, but they never said it, you are likely to be a person that shows your love by doing things versus always saying, hey, I love you, or hey, I'm thinking about you. There's a correlation between how you're raised and how you react. I think if you have trauma, hopefully that's something you can work through and not have that bleed into your relationship. But it takes a lot of probably self-realization and a lot of like awareness and work.
Or it can
To
affect
move away
you.
from that.
It can affect you in the opposite way.
Mhm.
Like you don't have to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Because you could show love the way your parents show love, or you can be like, well, that was a problem for me because I would really like someone to say, hey, I love you. Have a good day at school. So that you often say, I love you to those who you love just on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, I do think that. I think that personally, people either, I guess I'm agreeing with both of you.
Ooh.
I do think that.
Timestamp.
Right? I think that people do respond one or the other way. There's a lot of people who didn't have a parent in their household, whether it had been their mother or their father. So they strive to be whatever they imagine that person would be, right? So the lack of, I guess, family in that aspect is actually motivation for them to be whatever that they, truly felt like they needed. Now, one issue is that I think we oftentimes have is sometimes we try to be something that we always wanted for someone that doesn't need the same things that we needed. And so we may feel like they're not appreciative or they don't understand our love. or maybe we might even feel like we're over loving, but realistically, we're just trying to see ourselves in them, and they're their own person with their own experience and desires.
I agree. I personally think that I used to be a person that would only date people who had good relationships with their relatives or, their mothers. But sometimes people don't have good relationships with their family based on what they had to endure growing up, their childhood. Some people probably didn't have good relationships with their mother, so you may hear someone being disrespectful to their mother. But I don't think that that necessarily means that they will be disrespectful to all women or to, end the relationship. I think it all depends on where people come from and what they had to deal with in, their upbringing. So that's kind of my take on it.
You know what I just realized too? Like, people be like, oh, the way a man treats his mom is a good indication of how he's going to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
And they be like, no, that ain't true.
Right.
Because a lot of times that mom did not know how to parent. A lot of times that mom was not really a qualifying mother for that individual. And so she could be reaping, what she sowed and how she treated that kid since he was a kid or whatever times that he needed her and she did not show up. So I think that sometimes the correlation are not, synonymous.
Sorry, you want me to
No,
shut?
I was gonna say, they're not synonymous. That's all I was saying.
I think sometimes it has like a reverse effect. So if you had an upbringing where your mom did neglect you or didn't show you love, you may have ill feelings towards the people that mistreated you, but that may have you that may make you want to it's like you desire love or you desire relationships or you desire a healthy relationship with someone. So I think it doesn't always mean it's a bad thing if they don't have a relationship with their parent. It may mean that they're looking for something that they never had, and maybe they can find it.
I think mine is going to be a little bit more different than a correlation of their actual relationship, but I won't date a woman who did not have her father there ever. I will never do it.
Right.
Because especially now as a father of a girl, I understand how impactful that love is. And I understand the way my daughter looks at me, she will never look at no one else that way, not even her own mother. So if that is absent in a woman, I feel like that is potentially a recipe for disaster for her to go down the wrong path. It's a void that I believe can't be filled by anything else. It doesn't matter how much money, it doesn't matter about a step parent, it doesn't matter how good it is. It's something that is empty that she may never know that it's empty. But it's an emptiness within inside that has a lot of potential to be detrimental to that person's character and day-to-day life. And I don't want to take on that burden dealing with that because I know that there's nothing that I can do to help fill that void. I mean, it is because somebody else's pain is
I was about to say, well, if you don't want to date someone that you know is going to be a burden to you.
But you don't know it until you're dealing with it. And then you're like, well, you start
There
to
have to be red flags.
Well, yeah, but we think that the red flags could be it's like the doctors. You can have a cough and you can be like, okay, it's a cold. And it turns out that it's cancer. You know what I'm saying? Like, it goes both ways. It's like, I thought I could cure this and I thought it wasn't that bad until you realize that this is life-threatening. And oftentimes you don't really know until you persist and keep on going. And as you keep on going, you're going to develop feelings and you're going to actually, you might even develop a family with this person.
Well, you got to be able to walk away if the shit don't work.
What if you have a girl who just has a bad relationship with her father? Not that the father was absent, but it wasn't the most impactful relationship in her life. What now?
I dated a girl who had a bad relationship with her father. And the bad relationship with her father, I was there while she was going through this bad relationship with her father, right? Her father and her mother started getting divorced, and her mother was basically feeding her all of the negative information about her father, and ultimately she started hating her father, right? And throughout the course, I dated her for 2 years, and throughout the course, I felt like, and this is just my opinion from the outside looking in, as just a recipient, I felt like I started being treated different. But she started looking at men differently because of her father, because of what her mother was saying about her father. And we started having problems, and that eventually ended. So I think that it's having a bad relationship with your parent. It could be beneficial. Like sometimes people use it as motivation, and we do see all these success stories and whatnot. But I personally, I'm not trying to take on that. Like I'm
I
not
have
trying
so
to.
much to say, I don't know where to begin. My brain is just like
You know,
literally.
this is you're
I'm
distracting.
I'm not gonna say that your opinion isn't valid, but being a woman that was raised by my mother, and my dad was around when I was a kid, but once he did get incarcerated, it just sucks that you could say that basically a woman that was raised by just her mother is not as she's not as she doesn't deserve the love from a man. Yeah, she didn't have that man that protect. That's basically what you're saying. Like,
I didn't say a
no, it's
man.
just
I
saying
said this man.
this man, and that's fine. But it sucks that men would look at a woman like that because she was raised by her mother. Because I think of the outstanding job my mother did with me and how she made sure that she provided tremendously, and I had great male role models around me. And I don't think that having a father or not having a father would have made me like, like I think that it depends on the morals that your mother puts into you. It depends on what she builds in your life for you. I was in the best schools. I was in extracurricular activities after school. My mom did a really good job shaping me. So just speaking for the women who are out here raising kids alone because a man wasn't able to either step up and take the responsibility or make sure that his child was a priority, it's unfair because it's now like kids are being looked at as not as I don't even know the word for it. Yeah, like less than because if a woman didn't have a father, you just it's a lot of women that are getting touched by their dads. There's a lot of women who are getting mistreated by their dads, abusing the mothers in the home, putting trauma on the girls because they're fighting them, cheating on them, leaving them. There's so many different things that men are doing in these relationships. So it's not always good that the guy is in the home if he's not a good man. There's a lot of fathers, men in the home, dads, but they're not fathers. So a lot of people are not even getting the proper upbringing that you might think just because it's a two-family home. It could be a lot of trauma going on in the household as well with fathers.
I'm not going to disagree on, just traumatic people bringing on traumatic situations to other
Mhm.
people. But what I will say is like, all right, if you think about it, you had extracurricular activities, you played sports.
hmm
Did you still miss your dad?
I miss my dad. He wrote me letters.
That, but that's what I'm saying. What happens is, as the
I
other
miss my dad,
parent,
but I did have, someone that came in and did also like fill the void of that and also did a great job and also like made me understand, what it's like to have that male, I had a role model in my life and someone who was a provider, someone who's a protector, someone I could run to, someone who like he was like my hero. Like when, once I didn't have my dad anymore. So I just don't think it's always just a negative thing if if a kid doesn't have, if a woman doesn't have her father in her life. Because just like for you, you had someone else step in and stand in place for you not having your dad, correct?
yeah, and that's why I'm telling you that's bullshit. Because we can sit here and we can try to mask it up and make dog shit look like caviar all we want. At the end of the day, there's nothing that could fill that void. Your parent, my mom was a single mom, your mom was a single mom at one point, right? Our parents put us in extracurricular activities, basically busy work, right? Like it's going to shape you. But if you are too, like when you're a kid and you don't have that other parent and you're asking where they are, you want to know. And even if
But
they
that's like
told you,
saying you today are a failure because you didn't have your biological father. That's like saying you today are not a great man because you're a great man, you're a great father, you're a great provider, you're a person that comes to work and does what you have to do, and you are successful in life. So what does you having your biological father have to do with who you are today? If you were raised properly, or if life is going to shape you and
I
mold
also was
you.
arrested 3 times.
Well, you
I
here today.
also, yeah, but by the
Were you
grace,
convicted?
I was and convicted once.
That's actually the.
I was convicted once and arrested twice.
Did you do
I mean,
jail
3
time?
And people with fathers
No.
go through the
Alright,
same thing.
that's
People with
But
fathers
that's
go through
because I
worse.
had
People
money.
kill their parents. People have two family homes and kill their parents.
But wait,
People
I'm
go
not
through-
going into I'm not getting into the semantics with you today.
Yes, you are,
right?
because guess what? I'm not
Let's
done.
stay on
Going in
topic.
the hole.
That we're not saying that you're a
There's a
bad
hole.
person, and I'm not saying that you can't succeed in life because you don't have a parent. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you end up going through the same cycle that has been really in place for people to go through. So as a woman, not you, but women tend to become more promiscuous, or they tend to become emotionally undeveloped and unintelligent. As a man, you don't tap. Oh, I can't speak for all men, but as this man, I didn't tap into emotions. I didn't care about emotions. Emotions did not mean nothing to me. And then guess what? I mean, I was also in a survival mindset too. So now I have two things against me that I'm trying to battle and overcome. A lot of people don't make it out. I am one. You are one. But a lot of people do not make it out.
I think your view on people with women with fathers and women that don't have fathers is just a little tainted, because that's the kind of I mean, that's what would be politically correct, right?
I think it's fair. Just like you saying, I will not date a woman whose daddy wasn't around to raise her well or whatever. It's just like a woman saying, I'm not dating a man who don't have no money.
Mhm.
I'm not dating a man
Money?
who can't pay a mortgage. As a baseline, I'm not dating a man who, doesn't have a certain type of career because his career doesn't mesh with my world. His career, his friends, his X, Y, and Z, whatever. So you having that preference is 1000% fair because you don't want to do the labor of it.
Mm.
Just like a woman will say, I don't want to deal with the labor of being with a broke man. I don't want to pay my own mortgage.
I just want to jump in your body.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? So I have nothing against what Rico was saying, because all it is a preference, and we're all entitled to that. However, I had a question to both of y'all because I wanted to understand. I just want a point of clarification. Is it a girl who did not have a father for whatever reason, or is it a girl who had a father who chose not to raise her, who chose not to be involved? Because, you could have a father that dies, a father that,
Got incarcerated.
incarcerated, who's mentally, unstable, unfit to even raise a child. Like, so is it more so like the parents that literally could have been there and they choose not to, or is it just all of them?
I would say 75% of all. There are very few reasons, like obviously like the death. If like let's say you were 3 years old when your father passed away, that's entirely different. He was there, whatever have you. 9 times out of 10, the mother is there to probably tell good stories about your father, and you can live with a certain amount of peace with that. When we're talking about a father who was never there, a father who came in and left, a father who may have been arrested and let's just say he did, I don't know, 15 years. And then when he comes back out, he's still the same person. Really, because that kills their hope on trying to really bond with them for the first time. You can acquire money. You can acquire money, right? Throughout time, throughout work ethic. There's certain ways for you to make money, right? So I don't view it the same type of preference. I believe that's like apples and oranges. They're both fruit, but it's a different type. When you have something that is outside of your means, like I don't think a man who never had a mother, right? On the opposite flip, a woman's gonna want to deal with that man either.
I don't really think that I was trying to challenge you. I was just trying to ask if it would be the same outcome, because in all of the examples that Erin gave just now, I feel like they could have the same outcome if the father died, if the father just chose not to be there, if the father was incarcerated. It doesn't even matter how old the parent was. You said 3 years old. That's still majority of that girl's life not having a father. It can still be the same outcome as her not having a dad at all. I do feel like there would be a difference, like Jada said, if someone had stepped in and like maybe the mom got remarried or something. Now she has a father figure in her life and she's grown up with a man in her household. So, maybe I don't want to be outlandish with how, what the outcome would be of a girl without a father, but sometimes maybe a girl can be promiscuous because they don't really know how to be around a man, or maybe they're just like desperate for like a man's attention, or anything of the sort. Maybe that wouldn't happen so often if there was a stepfather or somebody else to raise that child. Now, when I said if you did have a father and you have a bad relationship with your dad, I can see that having the same result, because it's like, fuck niggas, right? Like,
Right.
It's all
if-
bad.
yeah,
That's
because
what I was
if I
thinking.
never had a dad, I would be like, yo, fuck men. Men don't be around. I never had a dad, blah, blah, blah. But if I had a father in my own household and me and him never got along, and I feel like he like don't give a fuck, or he just be like treating my mom bad, and I just got to witness all of this other like stuff, and I'm just don't be rocking with my dad like that. So it's still fuck niggas. So I'm still gonna go outside and do whatever I want. I'm still gonna have the same like outcome as if he was never here, because he's not really doing anything to impact my life, which actually I did say.
Positively.
Yeah, positively. Which was my point before. I did say that. I
Yeah,
said,
you
yeah,
said
because I
twice.
felt like I finished this point already.
Yeah.
I think that a dad with a bad relationship in your household can be have the same negative impact on a female as not having a dad at all.
Your dad passed away at 3 from some type of, God forbid, cancer, and he was a good man to your mother. And if your mother is raving about your father, I highly doubt the odds are not in your favor to come out with that negative mindset. Now, when your father chooses not to be there, or when he chooses to make a terrible decision that impacts his freedom, which then again you're affected by that, it's a different type of first impression that you have on men, and you run with that hurt for a very long time, because you don't, as a kid, you don't know how to identify it. Then once you learn how to identify it, you don't know how to express it. And then once you finally learn how to express it, you don't know how to handle it and cope with it. And then by that time you're 18, and you have probably made 3 or 4 mistakes by then. So that's why the odds are not in your favor. And then usually those mistakes, every single mistake that we make, whether it be from our families to blame, or whether it be our surroundings to blame, our environment to blame, those mistakes chip away at our innocence, they chip away at our conscience, and they chip away at our character. And we can sit here and think that we can, heal ourselves back to being full again after you done had 25 years of hardships, and 7 of those 25 years are your fault that you don't want to accept because you blamed your father, or you blamed your mother, or you blamed your surroundings. Now you're 25 to 30 years old walking around with these flawed characteristics that we always talk about, these flawed personalities, and then life is not in your favor at all. And then we sit here and then we try to justify our pain, or justify our resentment. And when you do that, you'll never, ever, ever be healed, especially healed enough for a healthy relationship, because you want somebody to love you through that. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but that's walking up a steep hill that never ends until you decide to cut it off.
So do you think you not having a father is why you want your woman to propose?
Nah, but the thing is, like, and again, my mother was the first impression that I had as a woman. My mom never compromised her morals. My mom never got naked and to get money. My mom went.
Yeah, you don't know what your mama was
Right,
doing.
you never know,
child.
but
My
do
mom
you?
had me at 17 years old. I was with my mom every day. We were
Yeah,
homeless
but you
together. We
didn't
rocked
have, you
together.
didn't have
Listen,
an
my mom
influence
went
from your dad,
Bro.
though. So you
Okay, listen.
look at
I'm
things
telling you the
so-
story of Rico's life. Y'all was not there, right?
just
So,
saying.
so my mom worked, and when my mom couldn't when my mom couldn't spend time with me, she was my substitute teacher. My mom was my coach.
it worked for you. That's what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is, the first impression of a woman is to make the sacrifice for men just as much as you will have to make a sacrifice for her. So no, I won't accept a woman coming in and doing the bare minimum, because the first woman in my life maxed out. I feel like my personal life, if I had to survey and give you my answer, I would say that like it's so hard to say. I would say it's a good
Like
50-50.
Yeah.
Because it's not even the fact that nowadays it's not even I think that women are more impressionable than men. So my age group, my era growing up, I grew up where women started saying it's okay to be whores. So a lot of them had good parents and they just were impacted by their surroundings and wanted to be outside and get drunk and smoke weed at college and then get a train ran on them. Like that was the reality. And then guess what? You meet both of their parents, and you're like, wow, you really came from a good home. What's wrong with you? Like,
Just fucking said that,
you know,
Rico.
so it's kind of hard.
Crazy.
It's kind of hard, but like the ones that you had to do, I would say this, the ones you have to do less work for, I would say yes. But for the ones that do have like a good parent, you have to do a different type of work. It just have to be fun and be comfortable and warming. And you can still get it. But I'm a guru with women.
So this is my question, and it's on the same line of thought here. So can we talk about men, because I know a few, sadly, who have daddy issues?
Yeah, I know a couple.
Either their fathers were there, or their fathers were not there for whatever reason, or they mistreated their own son, or they mistreated the mother and the son saw it. There's, I don't know, I'm gonna be honest, I've seen more negativity from boys who wish they had their dads around. And it's even worse when it's boys who didn't have their dads around because of their mom. So like,
'Cause they hate both of them.
because no, the thing is that
They want their dad.
they resent their mom,
Mhm.
but the mama always held them down. So it's a very weird dynamic.
Because
You
you,
know what I mean?
appreciate, you're
Yes.
grateful, but you still resentful.
Exactly. And so, and I think maybe because dudes are not encouraged to like explore that need that they wanted or that desire for their father, they're not encouraged to talk it out. They're not encouraged to do any of that. Where women, we'll sit around and talk about it
Mhm.
with our moms, with our homegirls, with our cousins or whatever. But men aren't gonna explore it like that. So I feel like
Depends on the household.
I mean, listen, any man who acts overly feminine 9 times out of 10 envies men. Like, look, let me be realistic.
what is
teaching me
I'll be
something.
realistic.
What's overly
I'll be
feminine?
realistic. I'll be realistic. Most
Talk that
men,
one through.
most men that y'all
Do
see
you know
on
Alan?
Instagram that women agree with resent men. They actually don't like men. And usually it's because they were raised by women only, right? And you see it like my sister, her baby father, he's
We're not gonna name names.
I'm not
Go
gonna
ahead,
say,
give us the
but he's
tea.
so
He didn't say a name.
he's so soft. He was raised by women his whole life. He said to me, all I know is women. And I was like, that's why you are the way you are. You can't get into, you can't sit,
all you
you
know is
don't,
women?
Y'all, y'all gonna fight after this.
No. Look,
He don't wanna
no.
know.
He don't know.
Yeah,
But I
don't even
think
matter.
I think it's the opposite. I think it's like there's no middle ground. So you either have dudes who are like, who don't know how to deal with emotion, who don't know how to deal with other men, who always fucking angry, because they haven't had a means to get rid of that. They mad because they daddy wasn't there. They mad at him, but he not here to punch in the face. He not here, to say I'm sorry because I wasn't there for the first 20 years of your life. He ain't here to pay the back child support that he missed. And then, the mama go have to sell some coochie or something to get the school shoes. It's just all these different things that they're mad about, but they don't have
To
any.
borrow some money for the school
any
shoes.
outlet.
I don't know. Yeah, like, and that's
Nah,
what
I
I'm
get
saying.
it.
Or she ain't
It's super-
home.
It's super soft,
Hand me down.
or on the other end.
Now, I'm just talking about from an emotionally regulated. So the men, like the one that you were talking about, I think if I take those men out, right? Because that's just literally not have been able to process your situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the next step after that part, right? So like, let's say that the men that we're speaking about now have processed it. they have found an outlet to get rid of their anger, and now let's literally see their perspectives on life and how they and what path they walk down.
Does that happen though?
It happens a lot. We see them with podcasts, and those are the ones where they have 10,000 women commenting and no men.
No.
Those are the ones that we're talking. But no.
Shit.
But
No, I'm saying the men. I'm saying the men I'm talking about.
Oh,
the ones
shit.
where they're mad at their dads for not
Yeah.
being there, and it's the opposite reaction.
Mhm.
And you're saying that men deal with that, but I'm asking, like, the men you know who didn't have their dads, are they dealing with it? Because the men that I know, they haven't, and I don't think that they even have a space for it or even know how to.
I think, like, all right, I had a phone call
Y'all
today,
scared of
right?
therapy?
With one of my guys, he's a little bit older than me, and we're talking about, his mom passed away, rest in peace. Great woman, very strong woman. And he was talking about how, like, we're talking about the differences of being raised, right? And his mom and, like, my mom, we have a lot of the same
Priorities?
characteristics and personalities, because both our mom were very tough women on us, extremely tough.
Virgos?
I think Leos. So I think that what happens is when you have a mom that's really coddling and catering and no man present, you're gonna grow up soft. Even if you're angry, right? Their outlet or their response to it is not as enraged. It's just emotional, crying, and there's a whole bunch of other things that women can align with. And the worst part is they become a man and they get validation from broken women. And so they think that the way that they feel and the way that they respond to things is the way it should be. But yet, most times, they don't have successful relationships. Listen, if a man does anything that is to always or majority of the time validate in a woman's favor, that is a red flag. If he says he should open the door and you should never touch a doorknob a day in your life, and he goes that far, that's a red flag. That is somebody who has serious trauma against men at some point, whether he was bullied in high school, whether his father wasn't there, et cetera, et cetera. When a man seeks validation, specifically, not in full, but specifically from women, you should be able to identify, why is he only seeking the validation for one, right? A good man, a solid man who has, maybe he might have gone through the trauma, but he has resolved the trauma. He's going to figure out what is fair for both sides or somewhat close to it.
But he hasn't resolved the trauma. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What does the man, because you're talking about a man who hasn't resolved the trauma and he's always siding with women. What does the man on this side that I was talking
That's
about,
a man's man?
who hasn't resolved the trauma?
So you got, there's two different types. There's probably way more than two, but I'll give you just two ways to identify. One, they become the other side of the people with the podcast mic that's like, yo, fuck these women, and you know what? I didn't get women till I got money, and now I just shit on them. Those are the ones that have a lot of issues.
So the fresh and fits.
Yeah, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be.
Don't.
Do they still have a platform? I thought it was taken from them.
But whatever it may be, right? Because the thing
I
is,
don't know who that is.
when you don't get validation from your father, I believe this. This is just my personal
Are you looking for it from other men?
You're looking for it from other men. And when you don't get it from other men, you look for it and you try women, but you weren't getting it from the men, and you can't get it from the woman, you just get money. Because money is the neutralizer for a lot of weakness. So once they get the money, then they get validation from some men.
You get the power.
And then you get all validation, or majority of their validation, that comes from women, right? Because now they have the money, they have the means to play the game. That's how you identify them, huh?
Is that when you're a simp?
No. Those are not
define simp?
Those are not sims.
Oh.
Those use women as toys. They don't
hate women.
They don't. I don't want to say they hate women. They just
No, 'cause
they don't
it
have the
sounds
same.
like when you do that, and now you have all the money because this is your power now. I got all of the money now. Okay, well now girls are looking at me because I got money. So like, let me buy you whatever you want.
No, that's not what happens.
Yes,
That's
it
not.
is.
That's no. Not for the one that we're talking about. That's a different one. Yeah,
Gotcha, okay.
that's not that. The one that we're speaking about now, how they would respond to it's like this. Hopefully everybody heard this analogy. The guy who was bullied in high school who becomes a cop and he abuses his authority.
Mhm.
That's the same one that didn't get, that's the same man that didn't get validation from men, couldn't get women, got money, now shit on women to impress men. That's how it works.
And that's how we got the validation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he just gave us the picture. The picture is the bully ass cop. How he started off as a bully, how he's now a bully, and how he exerts power to be a bully. So that's why it's important for us to identify and actually show what it looks like so that people can hopefully see the bullshit that they're doing or being a part of.
From a man.
You just
Just
they have
their
emotion.
homies.
They don't
That's what drives them.
they don't know how
Loyalty.
First of all, they have so much love and respect for their mothers. They turn to the streets and they say everything I got to do for my mom. I got to give back to my mom. I got to help my mom pay the rent. I got to, I don't like to see my mom working 2-3 jobs. So yeah, I'm gonna do for her. I'm gonna go in the streets. I'm gonna sell this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm get the money because I got to take care of my mom's this, that, and the third. Like that's what drives them. Their love for their mom and like not wanting her to struggle, not wanting their like, their life to be complicated, difficult, or whatever they already endured growing up as a kid. So whenever they get old enough to like help them, that this is where the aggression, this is where the violence come in, opposed to them being feminine, like the
Or
the
they might
other
be
50.
feminine.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we gotta also think about it like even the feminine dudes, they don't get recruited by men. It's like you gotta remember, like, if we took both of those people, we took the dude that wants to do better for his mom. We have two versions. We have A and B. A is displayed toughness, he displayed boundaries, and he displayed being able to stand his own ground. A big homie's gonna take him under his wing. And he will eventually become a man in the wrong way first, right? But you have to be capable of being dangerous in order to be a man. If you do not have the capability, you cannot be a man. Because when push comes to shove and it's time to protect for real, you have to be violent. And if you don't possess it, you are not a man. So then let's take option B. That man possesses none of it. So he gets no big homies. You know who he gets? The girls in his first grade class who becomes his best friend. Because he's in first grade. I'm saying like kids.
Where it starts.
Nah, violence is in kindergarten. Like,
start violent by 6, you ain't violent.
yeah, like, yeah, like, but
I don't think so.
wait, hold on. So option B, they get their first experience of men is my dad isn't there for whatever reason, and then the big homies don't even pick me up and treat me the same way that they treat the other people that I see, and in school, the kids who are typically the jocks or the popular tough kids, they don't invite me to their lunch tables. Where do you think they fall?
With Keisha and them.
With Keisha, or they fall with Jessica and Jasmine's, and then Ashley's, right? And sometimes they might get their own little group, right? You might get the nerd group, which is cool, which they have a whole different trajectory of life. But then now all he had was validation from women, and then he goes home, he goes back to a woman. And then he sees his mom maybe cry or be upset because of the struggles in a dating life or the struggles of being a single parent. So that resentment of men grow more, right? And then he goes out and then now it's time for gym class and it's time to get picked for dodgeball. And he got picked last. So now he resents more. And he goes through a whole 15 to 20 years of being never selected by the man's man and only enduring what his mom is going through from not having his father and then dealing with the personal absence of his father.
I mean, you
right?
could be a little like...
But he's soft, so he can't be violent. So sometimes women think that man is emotionally regulated. No, he's not. He doesn't have the capacity to even show you his emotion.
But that don't mean he can't play dodgeball.
He can't play dodgeball or kickball. He can't play none of them.
I don't know. He might got hands.
Oh,
He
yeah.
don't got no hands.
That don't
But
mean
the only thing
pick.
he's the one. And this is a joke, right? But I always said this: if a man fights and he's crying while he's fighting, that is a
He's a
very
danger.
unstable man.
He's a danger.
Because there's you gotta think about it, in our community, especially like where I live. There's a lot of us that didn't have our fathers there.
Right.
He's like,
this is right. I'm about to kill you, nigga.
Wow.
I'm like, oh nah. He's
Yeah.
crying while he's fighting, and I understand like
Seen that
It's so
before?
crazy because
I've
I
seen it
know
many
all of these
times. I'm
niggas that
like-
I know all of these men we talking about.
those
but
are
you're
the ones
really
that you
breaking it
shocked
down
that they
right now.
won, right?
You breaking it down
But
right
a
now.
violent man is not gonna cry when he fights. A violent man, it might actually excite him a little bit. Like he might, and that's the difference. Like like that's the difference. You know what I'm saying?
Which one makes you crazy? Hold on. Which
It
one
really-
makes you
Both of
crazy?
them.
No,
they
I
both
think
kinda
the one that's
crazy.
crying is crazy.
But in grade school, when I grew up, how you got really like selected on a hierarchy was as a man or as a boys fighting. Oh, you beat him up. Oh, you went one step up. Oh, you beat him up. Oh, you went 2 steps up. Oh, you beat up everybody. Nah, he's the one you don't mess with, bro. That's just how it worked. So now when you're never in that area, you're just like, okay. Like people sit here and think that if a father is absent, he's living the dream. And if you don't have a kid, I feel like you should never talk about this. And if you're not a man, you really shouldn't talk about it, right? But as a father with a child, despite whatever me and my girl have been through or go through, if I didn't see my daughter, can I do it day to day? Yes. But spiritually, soulfully, my stomach, everything inside me would deteriorate. Everything. And any man that lives without seeing his child, he is hurting inside. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you think he's in the club every single night by choice. He's trying to drink away that pain. So like we can't think that like we sit here and we be like, oh yeah, he's good without the kid. He is not good. That man is
Child.
struggling.
Ain't no
That man
motherfucking way
is
he just said that
struggling,
ate at the
bro.
table.
Made me a lot
Hey.
of sociopaths.
Ain't no
That man
motherfucking way
is
he just said that
struggling,
ate at
bro.
the table.
Made me a lot
Hey.
of sociopaths.
4 at the table. I know he fucking lying.
What
Yo.
it is, I think. Hold on. I think like when
I'm
we-
just so confused.
What?
Yeah,
I
like
know niggas
just-
smiling from. That's you. That's you.
nah, bro. I know these people.
That's you. You don't know all these people.
I know these people.
And that's why I can't. That's why none of the shit you say is valid.
Allie talks too much.
The thing is, no funny shit, and it's gonna sound crazy. I know a lot of scumbags. I'm cool with them. I grew up with them. And just because they live their life on a day-to-day basis, when they talk to the homies that they really talk to, they be like, damn, I miss my child.
Oh my
Some of these men break down behind closed doors for their kid. And then they also feel like, yo, some men is like, it's like people that are religious but haven't spoken to God, and they just refuse to speak to God. Because they haven't
the
spoken to,
weakest shit
they
I've
haven't,
ever
they
heard.
won't go to the church because they know they did so much wrong. They feel like they can't be forgiven.
This is so weak.
So it's like the same thing. Like, yo, like
This is
you
so
know how
weak.
hard it is to look. Listen. Just think about it. It's already hard for people to take on their own accountability. Can we agree on that?
Yeah. Not everyone.
All right.
Right. Not.
I didn't say everyone.
Yeah.
Right? So we can agree that it's hard for people to take their own accountability. Now, imagine looking at your own creation at 10 years old, 12 years old, or 15 years old, and having to really look at them and say, I was not there for you, and everything that you went through, I had contributed to it.
Rico, we would not even be having
like,
this
yo-
conversation if men were present. If they wanted to be present, they would be present. We would not be having this conversation
time
if
out.
men were
That's
present.
no, we're not going with that.
In these households,
We're not
we
going
wouldn't
with
have
that.
so many broken men. We wouldn't have so many broken people. The fact that we have to have this conversation surrounded around not present fathers.
Thank you.
The fact that we have so many people incarcerated. We have so many people that have been raised by just women. We have so many people who are hurting because their dads were not present. And the fact that you can say, oh, they're hurting. Fuck, they're hurting. Go be present. Go take care of your child. Go help this woman that you probably left while she was in postpartum, which is the hardest thing to fucking deal with. There's no excuse for that. You created a human being. And you're gonna tell me, oh, I feel bad. I miss my child.
You don't feel
That's
that
the
bad.
weakest, wackest shit I've ever heard in my life.
What we're not gonna do,
Yes, we are.
we're not gonna allow you to sit here and we're not gonna allow you to sit here and give women an out as if they don't make it difficult for men to
Oh
even
my
be in I didn't
God.
talk while you talk. Matter of fact, give me the mic. Look.
You gonna make feedback maybe.
So what we're not gonna do is give women an out and make it seem like women don't make it difficult for some men to see their kids. There are men who try hard as hell to see their kids, and that woman is just a pity, envious, mad, hurt woman.
I agree. Can I say something?
Nope, no, you
agreed
can't.
first.
Well, I'm not done. I'm not done. Right? So, like, we gotta also think, like, all right, cool. Some men feel like, first of all, I don't even get the chance, or I don't have the resources to even win my child over. If a mother decides that she's not gonna allow that father to see the child for whatever reason, because she got mad because he didn't buy diapers that 1 week, now he has to go 2 weeks. And it's like women be using kids as pawns. Women be holding their baby hostage and then putting the man through the ringer and then thinking the man's supposed to persevere through years of this dumbass abuse and then think that he's going to be present. At some point, a man is going to be like, yo, I quit. Now, is it wrong? Yeah, for the kid. But is it wrong for the woman to push that on the father and then have the kid suffer? Yes, they're both wrong.
Can I ask one question? Just a follow up. When the father can't purchase those diapers,
Yeah.
what is the baby wearing?
Because she's gonna make it happen regardless.
What if she don't have them?
Mama's gonna make it happen
Well,
regardless.
but it's the thing, though. Again, women are
my
awarded
attitude is gonna
babies
make-
at birth. It doesn't even matter. So now if we were to say, okay, cool, we completely erase that.
I have an example. So this goes back to what she was saying about the reason why we're even talking about this is because it does happen. The other day on a podcast with Van Lathan and Rachel Lindsay, they were talking about, well, they had Larry Elder on, and he's running for as a presidential candidate as a Republican, and I guess his platform, or a huge part of his platform, is fatherless homes and fathers not being around for their children. And I think the fact that it's even a talking point lends itself to it actually being an issue. Because if it wasn't an issue, I mean, let's be real, nobody would be talking about it. Let's think about it, like avocados. The only way we be talking about avocados is if the price went up, is if a flood or something, or some natural disaster came and messed up the world's crop. You know, like that's the only reason we're talking about it. That's the only reason it's top of mind, because something actually is going on with avocados. You know, so back to Jada's point, the only reason that this is even a point of discussion is because the only reason it's a point of discussion is because it happens, and it happens frequently enough such that a lot of people are impacted.
And I said this, mind you, I said this at 8 at the table 4 years ago. Now niggas be running with this stat. I remember I texted Alan when I found out that America is literally 3 times the amount of single parent households across the entire world on average. The rest of the world averages, I think, 8%, and we average 24% of kids growing up in a single parent household. Only here. First of all, the deadbeat thing is like, especially like the numerics of stats are nowhere near accurate. That's one. 2, what we should do is bring men here who didn't, or who either chose not to be, or who had to go through the ringer, and then the world will know the truth. We need to stop running with this narrative of what we think because of how we feel. The only reason why I speak on it is because I know these men on both sides. The only reason why I speak on it is because I know these men on both sides. I spoke to him on both sides.
Contradicting yourself.
Well, it's the exact same thing.
That's what I said.
So
That's what I did.
For the men and women she knows, I'm speaking for the men and women I know, which is why I'm genuinely confused by what you're saying. And she's speaking for the men. Alan, matter of fact, Alan, who isn't agreeing, he's calling you an anomaly, is saying based on his experience.
But realistically, when we look at it right now, it's like, there's been more men fighting to get, like, for example, I actually found this stat out, and I hate doing this with the stat, but it said that, you know how they say the narrative about black men not being present, right? And this was on TikTok, and I forgot exactly what it was, but I do know that it was over 70% of black men are there present for their father, for their kids. Whether or not they see him every week, they at least speak to them 2 to 3 times a week. Right? It was like 78%, but don't quote me. But it was in the 70s.
On TikTok?
Yeah, it was on TikTok. But like it was
I gotta leave. I have to clock out because this is crazy.
It was an article that was posted on TikTok. But then But what ended up happening is when you look at it and you do more research, you'll actually see how, like, especially black men, like, first of all, black men are the number one fathers when it comes to parenting across the board. We change more diapers than all the other ethnicities. We are there more than all the other ethnicities in America, I'm speaking about. And we are more present with our kids than any other ethnicity in America. You could do the research right now and you can let me know what you come back with.
I'm gonna do it.
But instead of running off what people have said and start running off what we heard 10, 20, 30 years ago, we should actually start to understand that the world is changing, times are changing. So I don't fully align with that. Like, are there people out there who have 6 kids, 4 baby mamas? Yes. I don't know them. I know somebody who might got 3 kids with 2 baby mamas. That is something.
Isn't that a similar ratio?
I mean, it's
the
the ratio, but the amount is still
But,
different.
yeah, but the ratio is what makes them equal.
No, it doesn't,
Yes, it
because
does.
6 kids.
Isn't your mother a teacher?
6 kids and 3 kids are not the same.
One third
in
equals
real
1/3
life.
and 1/3.
In real life, a kid is
Not
not
how
a
it
number.
works.
A kid is not a
Not
stat.
how it works.
Yes, it is.
Not how it works. It's a
So,
ratio.
But the thing is this: I had a daughter, right?
Right.
I was
Like
dealing.
we said,
Listen,
you are a small
listen.
percentage.
I was dealing with some shit. I didn't even know what postpartum was until I had a
That's
child.
why it was easy to walk out if you don't know.
But thank you. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're not explaining something to a man who has no idea what the hell postpartum is, it's like, I'm not understanding what you're going through. So, like, you have to be able to communicate that.
We don't even know.
But
Exactly.
you know that postpartum exists.
No, a
No,
lot of
you
women
don't. I never
Oh,
thought in my
no.
life that I could ever be depressed. I never,
A lot
ever,
of
ever
women
thought.
aren't-
That's what I'm saying. I don't even want to word it because that's how sick postpartum is. You have the craziest thoughts. The
They didn't give
depression
y'all
is
a postpartum
real.
package?
So if you think that that's the only thing that women think about after having a baby and that her mental isn't going to be completely
so
fucked up,
dumb.
it's fucked up of men.
To even say that.
Did you know that men go through postpartum?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay, so that's fucked up. That you think. No.
what's
Now
fucked up
let me go.
is I
It's
stretch
fucked
my
up that
coochie
you
out
think
and-
a man is gonna have a baby and not know
You don't
and be
understand
able
how
to
sick
deal with
you are
another
right now?
sick woman. Like, this is crazy.
You don't see how sick you are right now? This is the
No.
mentality of a man. This is sick of you.
That's sick of you.
You're so sick right now.
At you.
I am someone that is very emotionally regulated, and though I have never had a baby, I would not be surprised if men go through something mentally after having a baby. Is it going to be on the same level as a woman? No. Definitely not. But I'm not going to take that away from you that you are going through anything. Rico, don't do like this.
Some women
Because-
don't go through
because if
postpartum.
You can even tell me that men at this day and age don't know that postpartum exists for women. That's pretty crazy because this is something that's been going on for years.
I didn't know.
Come on.
I didn't know. I learned it on the fly.
But this is the thing. I didn't know either. I was like, why am
No
I
niggas
feeling
talking
like
about
this?
postpartum in their life.
It needs to be a conversation because that is why men are walking out on their women. A lot of men are leaving because they don't understand that a woman is going through her hormones. Everything is changing in your body, and you don't have the support from the person who put the fucking thing in your body. And so now the relationship is just over, and now you're stuck with a fucking baby. Not me. I be talking shit, but it ain't
That's
my
not our
story.
fault that we don't know.
And that's why I said in that period of time, that's when everybody breaks up.
25%, and I was one of them. I was like, what the fuck
It's
is going
fair.
on
It
in my
makes
life?
sense.
It makes sense. And that's why I said relationships end during that time.
But-
Because men cannot handle it.
Listen, it makes a lot of sense because your life is changing. This is what she just said. It makes a lot of sense. However, what she's saying is that your existence is changing. Your brain chemistry, your
Everything.
body, the way your eyes work. It's
Nothing.
It's literally your existence.
So when you said my anxiety, my connection with my child, my connection with my man, my confusion, it's so much deeper than that.
Yeah, but
I've never been the same since I had a child. So for someone to tell me that after I just pushed out a human being, had a fucking blood transfusion, I'm going through so many emotional changes, and
You think that my
you
body
think I
is
give
the
a
only
fuck
thing-
about my body? I'm grateful for what I got from my child. I'm grateful
trying
for
to
the
regulate her
scars.
brain.
I'm trying to get right because now I have someone that I'm going to continue to be responsible for the rest of my fucking life, and all I want is a little bit of support.
You know what Erin
But
usually
guess
said?
what everybody wants to do? Walk the fuck out. You want to walk out because it's too hard for you, because you can't sit here and just ease my pain or coddle the fucking child while I'm sad, because I just went through all of this walking around and wobbling and pushing out a fucking child, maybe got cut up, and you can't even just sit the fuck down for a second and just understand that I'm going through a change and I'm in pain right now, and every man is too fucking weak to stay there. You got to walk out. You know how many fucking men have walked out of their kids' lives because of that? A woman should not make you leave your child ever. And you are one of the 25%. Congratulations, but we got a lot of
It's
fucking
not one of
dads
the
that are not
25%.
standing
It
up.
was 25. It was 75%.
I will punch you
It
today.
was 75%. A man who is actually with the woman throughout the pregnancy, right? His body is realizing that there's a baby coming as well. And his body actually holds on to more calories and builds more fat to prepare for less sleep. This is not a joke. This
I
is real life
agree.
shit. Like, this is real biology. So like, so when you talk about your body, they say guys gain weight, right? Baby weight, guys gain baby weight. What do you
True.
think? What do you think the baby weight is coming
Because y'all
from?
eating from what we eat.
No, that's not why. Y'all not even really
We
eating
eating-
like what real men figure it out. The onus, right? You can't put the onus on the man that for him to not understand your body going through changes when the man doesn't have a woman's body. We don't talk about postpartum. We don't talk about body changes at all ever in our entire existence. Now, if I sit here and I flip the switch and I say, do you know that men go through postpartum? And you say no. And I say, okay, well, that's selfish of you to not understand that the man is going through a life change himself and you still expect him to understand you and he don't even understand him. This is crazy. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that you should leave your child. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that you cannot get mad at a man and a woman for not being able to find a balance or create a balance through times where both of their mental and lifestyle is changing. And that's why they fall apart.
Rico and Lonnie, shut up. I don't think that it's selfish if a woman does not know or is not educated about men having postpartum, because not a lot of people know about that.
You think we know about? Okay.
No,
This
no,
is a
but
shame.
it is more common for a woman to have postpartum. But you can educate. I'm going through a time, I'm feeling like I have postpartum. You can communicate that with your partner. No problem. Not everyone's going to know that about a man. Now, this dad bod, I really just want to say where I think it honestly comes from. I think that not all male partners get dad bod when they have a kid. And I definitely don't think that it comes from what you think that it comes from. I think that when you are in a relationship and you have a
Happy
wife or you have a partner and you guys are growing a family, if it's one kid, two kids, a couple of kids at this point, you're not staying fit for any reason. You're letting yourself go because you already got your person. You guys already got your partner. And I feel like that's what men with dad bods are. I don't think that people just, I have a baby, so I'm like formulating dad bod.
Nah, it's baby fat. What else you got to understand that it's not always just the blame is not always on one side. And what
There has to
and
be
what
a
we're
way.
doing is you can't minimalize one side's experience because you might have the upper hand or you might be going through more than the other. What Jada was saying and what I am saying in response to that is that you cannot expect somebody to understand you when they're not educated about you and you're not educated about them. No one is going to be able to understand each other at that moment.
In the age of information,
Well, I feel like we
that's an
can-
excuse. Come on.
Nobody knows
But
about
that's the
it.
thing. I was saying that too.
Nobody knows
I
about
was
it.
saying that too, though. We don't know.
Information.
Nobody
People
knows.
don't understand postpartum.
So then everybody's to blame.
Guys.
People
So
know
everybody's
what
to
they
blame.
want.
It's
The
like-
thing is this, we try to make an excuse for somebody to have a certain level of knowledge. That's what we're trying to do, right? No.
Really, I say
You're trying
educate.
what we're trying to do is saying if you don't possess this knowledge about this situation, that's because you chose not to know about it. And I think that's where we have it wrong. It's not that we are in the age of information. Information is something that has to be sought after first.
You don't accept excuses for nothing, but for this you will.
It's not an excuse. If you don't know, you can't know. If you don't know better, how the hell are you going to do better? If I sat here and if we just figured out right now that 1 out of 4 men go through postpartum, right?
I can't even believe
But
that this is
nonetheless,
something that I've
it's not the same
experienced, and I'm sure
We're not
you
comparing
have
them to
experienced.
be the same.
Anyone who has a kid has experienced this, and I can't even believe it's not taken serious.
It's not that it's not taken serious. The fact that y'all understand that you expect somebody to know something about a woman who's never been a
No, it's
woman.
not. I just said that I don't expect it. What I said is that when a woman is going through this, that's when the man walks out of the life. Basically, that's what I was saying.
Because we did not.
No,
even
we
expect
we started with it. We just drove.
This can be
is
another
two episodes,
episode.
really. We can just make it two.
You
Or
just
this shit crazy.
have to chop it up.
This shit crazy.
Yeah, make 2 different episodes.
It makes sense
Two
though
different
because
titles.
we went from
Honestly, there should be like pregnancy requirement classes.
Well, that's what Yumi said.
Thank you guys for watching this crazy, insane episode of 8 at the Table titled Daddy Issues, because I hope that's what this is going to be called. So if you haven't, please like, comment, subscribe, and support us in any way that you can. We're on Patreon, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Datebox. You can support us by buying merch, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Thank you. And please join our YouTube membership.